Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webcast on getting started with stock investing. If you're new, this is the place for you to be. We just are wrapping up our series that we typically go through, and today is a bonus lesson. And I'm going to ask you a question. I'd love for you to put your answer in the chat. My question to you is this. Are there specific routines that you like to follow that help you stay on top of what's going on in the market, what's going on in your positions that you're trading or paper trading? What kind of routines do you have? All right, we're going to spend a little bit of time on that today and hopefully give you some ideas of how you can stay on top if you're investing. Now, I've got Mike Fairborn in the chat. Mike's a good friend and very knowledgeable in the market. As you have questions pertinent to our discussion here today, go ahead and chat those in. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. Mike will help me out. If you're listening to this on the recording, and I know lots of you do, when you have a question, put it in the comments section in YouTube. And I go back and review those throughout the week so you can get your questions answered as well. Hope you follow me on X. I'm Connie Hill, CX. Mike Fairborn is Mike Fairborn. Well, are you Mike Fairborn or Michael? I think you're Michael Fairborn. CS, but we'll post educational content, things we've noticed in the market, or interesting reports, or interesting stock charts that we think you might find interesting. We'll post about those. So take advantage of that free opportunity to get in on some little nuggets. Let's go through our disclosures, and I will lay out our agenda for us. There they go. What we talk about today is intended for educational and informational purposes. Don't consider it a recommendation of any security strategy or chart pattern. We do talk about technical analysis in this class, but there are other approaches, including fundamental analysis, that may assert different views, and we bring kind of both of those elements together in our class. We will be using the Paper Money software application. It's for educational purposes. I think it's a great place for you to practice as you are learning new things, right? This is a class for those of you that are new to the markets and probably new to Thinkorswim as well. And so practice in that paper side of things. Past performance of any security or strategy does not guarantee future results or success. Investing involves risk, including the risk of loss. Now, I'm going to come out here and look in the chat, see how you responded to my question of what are some of the routines that you follow that help you stay on top of it. SJS says you review new potentials with scans on weekends. You like to check and raise stops if you are up on the week, and consider exiting positions if you're not looking as you planned, if things are not looking the way that you planned. Excellent. I like that, SJS. Long snapper, I'm in the income stage. I follow dividend stability and make sure SITs, I'm not sure what SITs is, but maybe stocks. You're looking for 5% plus gain on the yield on that. Track your dividend and income each week and month. I like that. You make a spreadsheet to track my dividends and income each week and month. That's what I missed that first part of that. That's fantastic. You guys are doing some good things, and I think anything that you might be doing, you can learn from each other and kind of incorporate that into the discussion. Now, I am going to just bring you up to date on some new in-person events that are going to be taking place soon. Market Drive in Chicago, it's on a Saturday. Market Drive in Anaheim, Saturday. One-day event, go down there, we treat you like gold, feed you and everything. And then a workshop in Miami, September 27, 28. I think that's a good time of the year to maybe be down in Miami. So if you're interested, go ahead and register. How do you register? Let me pop you over and show you. We're going to come over here to Charles Webb's website. You can see I'm not logged in yet. It says log in here. And then what you do is you go to learn and then come over to Schwab Coaching. I'll click on that again so you can see what I'm clicking on. And then live webcasts and virtual workshops is where you go. But to register for those sites that we talked about in Schaumburg, Illinois, and down in Anaheim, click on that button. And then it tells you about our upcoming events. There's some that are scheduled even further out. And where it says sign up, click on the button to sign up and get yourself registered. When we fill up, we will close it. We'll close it down, the registration for that. So if you think you're going to come, think you might bring somebody with you, go ahead and sign up. Let us know about that and hold you a seat. They're free, of course. And like I said, we pretty much treat you like gold. Mike's been to one recently. I have been to, and great events. People love them. While I'm on this page, and before we jump into routines, I do want to do a quick reminder to you to make sure you subscribe to our channel, our Trader Talks channel. This makes it easy for you to follow along with us, what we're teaching, what's coming up, what we have taught recently. Just makes it a little bit easier for you. Okay. We'll talk about what's coming up soon. Now, this was apparently earlier in the day because now we are clear over to right here. And this is the last class for the afternoon. Okay, getting started with stock investing. So do yourself a favor, go ahead and do that. All right, getting back here. The series, we just finished going through a series that we repeat over and over, right? You always pick up new things all the time. I enjoy some of your comments where you say, yeah, I pick up something new every time. And sometimes I think, man, I've taught you everything I know. But really, truly, yeah, how to adapt that information to market conditions and so forth. So these are the categories that we tackle. Routines is not on the list, and that's why I'm going to call it a bonus session here for us today, because it doesn't necessarily deal with these other aspects that we've spent a full week on. All right. Let's jump over to Thinkorswim. I've got my charts up and just checking the chat for any questions. I think we're good. All right. Number one, something we're going to go through daily routines first. Okay. So daily, take a look at what's going on in the market. Sometimes it's helpful to do that before you even look at your own positions, right? So you can see what's happening. Now I've got the SPX up here with different moving averages. Blue is a 10, red is a 30. You could use a 40 or 50 there as well. This black line is 100 and this green line is 200, and we're sitting out here on a daily chart, so that represents a 200-day average of price. And it gives us an idea of how the market's trending. Is it going into an area that maybe gets us a little uncomfortable, right? Typically, when the market's in a real bullish fashion, it's well above the 200, it's well above the 100. Well, right now, what are we looking at? It dipped below the 100 earlier here in the week. We had that volatility and the market really dropped. It didn't get below 200. Okay, so we're seeing a little bit of weakness in the market. And if you can see on a given day, is the market up? Is the market down? Then when you look at your individual positions, which is going to be on our list as well, then you kind of have a lens to look through. Like if the whole market is down, don't be so surprised if you've got bullish positions that are down. Okay, it's just probably likely. Market doesn't go up every single day, which we have been reminded of that here recently. All right, so you might have a routine. I have over here a little watch list called Daily Check. Okay, and these are the charts that I am interested in looking at on a daily basis. So let me change my time frame a little bit here. I've got it on 1 year. Let me just maybe take it to a 6-month chart, and I might look at the SPX, look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ went below its 200-day moving average. That caught some attention for individuals. Russell 2000 certainly showing some weakness, but it's up above its 100-day moving average. Now you could see on Monday, that big day of volatility, it went down to the 200, kind of pretty dang close to it. It kissed it right before bouncing back up. So it kind of just gives you a feel for what's going on. Now, something else to keep track of is the VIX, it's the volatility index. You know, some people will consider it like the fear factor gauge, right? If the VIX is high, then fear is up and instability in the marketplace. Typically, we'll see a volatility spike, and what happens with the markets? They go down. So they typically have this inverse relationship. So it's helpful to know what is normal, what's not normal. So I'm going to pull up a 2-year chart here on the VIX. Make sure I'm pulled out. And you can see over the last couple of years, We haven't been anything near like we were on Monday. All right. Yeah, we're really not even getting near to that point. Actually, this tall one, yeah, that was Monday on the 5th. But you can see, here's the year 2023, or actually turning over into the year 2024 here, right, in January. We can see we've been down at these lower levels. Previously, our highs on the VIX were up here around 20, 21, 22. That was considered high. And then all of a sudden, we're in this different range, right? We're in this different range last week and this week where we see kind of the fear factor that this is measuring. And really, it's measuring option puts versus calls. People have a tendency to buy puts when they're nervous. They want safety. They want maybe some defensive positioning. They might buy puts versus calls. And we don't really do puts and calls in this class, right? But it's that ratio that it's keeping track of. If people are buying a lot more puts, then they're concerned about what they're seeing in the marketplace. All right, so we had this huge spike Monday, and then the rest of the week, it's just kind of pulled back. It's settled down, hasn't it, for the most part? And so the last 2 days here, we've seen the VIX drop. That's letting us know fear is calming down in the marketplace. So those might be something that you look at every day. I've also got a 10-year interest rate note, and it was having trouble coming up. I can't remember. Maybe I'm missing no, maybe it's a $TNX. I'm missing something there, okay? It doesn't matter exactly right now, but sometimes you want to keep track of the interest rates, what's going on with them as well. And you could have whatever you want on your daily list to go and take a look at. Now, I'm going to bring us back our SPX here, and I'm going to add in the next thing. After you've identified the markets and what they're doing, you might want to say, well, what's my posture? Am I more bullish, bearish, or neutral? Because that posture might help you identify where you go next. Now, I'm going to add a study on this screen. It's a study that is called Market Forecast. And we know nobody can forecast the market, right? We like to kind of see if we can tell what might be coming up next, but we really, truly all get to find out together. So there is a market forecast that all of you will have. I'm going to bring up one here that I call it modified. Let's see. In fact, I've got it over, got a couple of different ones. We'll just go with this one. I'm going to add it on. It's a ThinkScript. Oh, and let's bring up, I'm just going to bring up a stock. See if that comes on there. It comes on. Not sure why it wasn't coming on. There's the SPX. That's where I really wanted to show. This is called our market forecast. And I'm going to show you a little bit about it. This is the modified one. Let me throw out the ThinkScript for those of you that want the fancy one. Okay, I'll show you the difference. And let me pull up the... Oh, I thought it was down here on my list of where I keep a lot of my scripts that I share with you. I will tell you this, it's out on my X account. I have a post pinned to the very top where I have those ThinkScripts. Feel free to go out there, get it. It's called Market Forecast Enhanced. Okay, and it's this bottom one right here. Now I'm going to zoom in so we can kind of look at it a little bit. Let me tell you about it, because this can help you form your posture on the market. We have 3 different time frames represented here. The green line represents kind of an intermediate time frame. What's going on in the intermediate trend? And it's, as you're looking at the overall market, it's the one that maybe is closest to what the overall market is doing, because that's kind of how we're looking at it, that intermediate time frame. If it's headed up, the market's more bullish. If it's headed down, the market's more bearish. If it goes below 20, which is this colored green zone, that gives us the idea that, oh, man, the markets have really pulled back. They've really sold off. And if the green line comes out of this bottom area, which it did here just recently, then you might have the idea that maybe we're going to see a little bit of bullishness, okay? The blue line represents a shorter time frame, kind of maybe like a swing trade. It can go from the bottom oversold zone to the upper, actually it's called upper and lower reversal zones, but to this upper zone. It might take it 5 days to get up there. And so it's kind of a swing time frame. And so we can see, okay, that blue line, maybe for that shorter time frame, 5 days, 6, 7, 8 days, something like that, it might be on the bullish side. And you can see, yeah, it's kind of corresponding to what the market's been doing, right? It's been going up there. And then this red line is really fast moving. It can move from one zone to the other in 1 to 2 days. Very quick turning line. So somebody that's maybe trading really short time frames might want to pay attention to that line. But it can help us identify our posture. So we might say, okay, very short term red line, market's up. Swing time frame blue, market looks like it's up as well. And then the intermediate is just barely today coming out of this lower reversal zone. When it crosses above 20, then we start thinking, okay, maybe the market's going to be a little bit more bullish in accordance with that study. Now, let me take a quick look at the chat and make sure that I'm not skipping over any of your questions. And I appreciate you sharing with each other what you do in terms of your daily routine. Thank you, Rafe. Rafi Campbell's telling us what his is. That's perfect. Oh, SJS is sharing the market forecast enhanced script. Thank you for doing that. I couldn't find mine very quickly, could I? Appreciate that. Let's see. The R was responding to Jack about the resistance level. Let me look at this real quickly first. This is a price point where a lot of people think the stock is cheap and they might start buying again, right? Which causes a little bounce in the market. It's just reflecting that behavior. People have been selling off, market's been dropping. Some buyers start stepping in and might be purchasing things that is causing this overall activity in the marketplace. All right. On a daily basis, you might run through that. And if you find this additional study helpful, add it into your overall look when you're looking at the markets. Something I also like to do is I like to come to the Market Watch tab and I like to come to the heat map. Okay, so Market Watch, visualize, heat map. And hopefully you're getting familiar and seeing this a little bit more, but basically on a day-to-day basis, it shows us what's going on in the marketplace, right? What's going on in this case in the S&P 500. We have Microsoft here. It's a pretty big box, right? Microsoft, Nvidia, Google, Apple have pretty big boxes because of their market cap. It's representing the market cap of Microsoft, how much of the S&P 500 it takes up, right? On days when the market's up, or not the markets, these individual stocks are up, they're going to be more green. The greener it is, the more up it's been today. So, here's a really green box down here. We've got PanW's fairly big, I'd say, fairly green. So we know it's up on the day. Anything that's red is down on the day. And if I'm going to take my drawings off of here and I'll show you. When you mouse on top of the box anywhere, it'll tell you the name of the company. If you didn't know, MSFT was Microsoft. Now you know. Tells you the last price. And so throughout the day, this is changing continually. And how much it's up or down today, it's up 0.83%, so just a little bit. So it's light green, and it shows you the market cap here of over I'm not even going to say what that is. It's really big. Okay, 3 trillion and so forth, because this is expressed in millions. Okay, so that's going to be our 3 trillion up there. On a day-to-day basis, it can give us an idea of what's going on in the market. Now, something that I like to pay attention to is it's grouped into sectors. So this grouping up here is information technology. Yeah, those look like information technology stocks. Over here, communication services, right? Google, Meta, those types of stocks. And then some of these other stocks, even though they're in the S&P 500, their group is not super big, okay? Like real estate, materials, not that big. Here we have energy. Now, ExxonMobil used to be a behemoth company, market cap wise, not nearly so much as what it used to be. Okay, and so we can see some days maybe like healthcare is all green and maybe everything else is red. Or maybe consumer discretionary is green and technology, but other things are red, and gives you a decent feel for what's happening in the market on a given day. Now, I'm going to show you something that's a little bit different look. Okay, and that is instead of the heat map, select on that and do index watch. And I'm going to pick an index. I'm going to pick a watch list. I'm just going to choose the NASDAQ 100 here. Okay, it's public watch list. And it's the bottom one down here. Thinkorswim software keeps it up to date for us, makes it really easily. And then here, just kind of at a quick glance, we can see, wow, what was up, what was down, what one stands out to you right now? I'm guessing this one right here. TTD, the trade desk, had a big breakout day after they announced their earnings last night. So it looks like they were up over 11.25%. If I put my mouse on top of this, kind of down below in this area, okay, it'll give you the information about the stock, the last price, and so forth. Sometimes you spot things that sold off big during the day, right? So I would say my eyes attracted to Intel. It's red on this bar, lets us know how low it went. That's what that little red line is. That's how low it went during the day. And when you see the green lines, that tells you how high that stock got on a day. Okay, so from a real quick, if you're just looking for a real quick visual, love to use both the heat map and the index watch. Baker says, yeah, Kevin Baker says, boy, Lilly is dark green today. And indeed it was, wasn't it? All right. On a day-to-day basis, those of you that maybe are doing some shorter term trading, maybe trend trading or swing trading, you want to evaluate your positions, right? Don't get them and ignore them. If you're a longer term investor, yeah, you might not be so up on it every single day that you feel the need to look at it, right? But you do want to take a look at the charts of your position. So Thinkorswim's really nice here. It can show us all account positions, or if you've got a bunch of linked accounts, you can get it for the whole thing. Okay, so this was on current account. So it's showing me the ticker symbols of those trades that I have on. And so just on a day-to-day basis, come in here, just see if there's anything that needs adjusting. I'm going to take us to one of my trades that we've used in this class, BHP. No, it wasn't BHP. It was BFH right here at the top, BFH. This is something we just showed you how to do a trade. We're showing you what buttons to click on in Thinkorswim to trade this Bread Financial Holdings. Now I do some other things. I mark up on my charts. I put a little green dot here to let me know when I got in. So in our class, we put in the trade here and we put in the stop loss down here. Well, we haven't adjusted it. We haven't really gone back to that stock for any purposes per se. And so, but if we were actively monitoring it, we may have found an additional support level here and said, hey, we're going to move our stop loss up, say 3% below this level. Now, it's gone up quite a bit for us. We're up on the trade, I think, about 14 or 15%. And so it might be appropriate to move the stop loss up so that you're at least trying to attempt to lock in some gains instead of just kind of leaving it alone like I have with this one, because we didn't have a real purpose for tracking it closely. Okay, so adjust your stops. This one, I'm going to say, what if we were to put the stop loss right now? It's a little bit below the 100-day moving average, but maybe we'd feel comfortable moving it up a little bit, locking in some gains. So I'm just going to drag and drop this maybe a little bit under the 30. Might want to give it some buffer room, but we can just move it up. Use the calculator and calculate what a good spot might be for you. All right. You want to make sure you're looking for new entries. Don't you hate it when you have a watch list, you're keeping track of things, and you just kind of ignored it for a few days, and then you go back and you look at your watch list and you go through it, and you're like, oh man, I missed my entry signals. I missed that. I missed the hold, I missed the bounce, I missed the breakout, whatever it is, and you're just like not happy. So just build it into your routine. If it's helpful, make a list. This is what you're going to do every day. I started looking out at market overall, and now we're just kind of going through individual positions, looking at our watch list. And if it has an entry signal, maybe you are somebody that waits till the close of the day. Go through your watch list, maybe a little bit before the market closes, in case you have a signal that you want to do some following up on. All right. How about news? Are you good at keeping up on the news for your stocks? Sometimes I'm really good at it. Other times I'm not so good at it. But if you have your current account up here and we look at live news, and suppose you just wanted to review just the news to see what was going on with your stocks, you know, some stocks don't have a lot of news, okay? This particular stock happened to have a few things happening today, but you could see it went a couple of days without really having some news, right? Today's the 9th, and before today, the last time it had news was on the 3rd. But you can just go through your list, just look at that live news and see if there's some stories that you need to review. Look at it, especially if your stock makes a big move, whether it's up or whether it's down. You need to know what the news is that moved that stock. You want to stay in touch with it, okay? Can't just kind of put on blinders and walk away, although sometimes I do that on my paper trades, okay? But when you've got money on the line, you do want to pay attention to the news. Now, let me jump over to the chat and see if there's some questions here that I need to answer. Can I use thinkorswim software with Schwab account? The answer, Benny, is absolutely. Yes, you can. You have to, if you haven't been moved over already by Schwab, they're moving people in groups, right? So certain groups have been moved over. If you haven't been moved over, I would say practice on thinkorswim first. Go to the paper money side, open it up, get comfortable with it. And then when you're ready, let Schwab know you're ready to move it over, okay? You can actually initiate it online, but if you just want somebody to help you, call them up and say, hey, I'm ready to start using thinkorswim in this particular account, whatever it is. You need to know, though, once you cut over to using thinkorswim, you're not going to be able to use SSE anymore. You can still trade off the Schwab website. Okay, you can use other versions of thinkorswim as well, but you won't have SSE anymore. So I do like to make people aware of that. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's see here. Volatility, yes. Long Snapper says, is this class geared towards day trader versus buy and hold? This class is more, we talk about a lot of different investing approaches, okay? Some of it can be longer term. Some of it, and I would say a lot of the material that we review and use from the stocks technical analysis course is more geared towards intermediate trading, certainly not day trading. I don't think we treat day trading in any of our classes, okay? But more the intermediate time frame, or sometimes people will like to take some of those rules and use it for a shorter term time frame, like a swing trade. Okay, kind of like the time frame of the blue line here. Let's see what else we've got here. Mike's helping me out. Thank you, Mike. Let's see. Gary says, is there a limit on the number of chart setups and watch lists that we can store? There probably is, but I'm going to tell you, Gary, I am the worst at cleaning up my watch list. Okay, I am totally the worst. I'll show you. I'm going to air my dirty laundry for you. Okay, I'm just going to select on this the current account. You can see I've got multiple pages of watch lists here. And some of them are old. Okay, here's this. We'll just even start here. This is from July 11th, earlier this month, another one earlier this month, one from May. Haven't gone back to it. So, covered calls from March. There's some cleaning up that I can do. I have not yet run out of space, but you will have difficulty if you're trying to delete watch lists and you've got so many. Say you have more than I do, and you come down here to say delete so you can do some cleaning up. If you've got a boatload and the list is so long that it moves you down, you have to fidget with your font to make sure that you can delete that line. But I've only run into that a time or two when I was really badly in need of cleaning out my watch list. Okay. You have SJS says, I hope there isn't a limit. I haven't run into it. I'm sure there probably is. But when you get too many, it's just kind of junks up your stuff. All right, let's move on. How many of you track your trades, track your investments? When you're newer, you don't know that that's probably a thing, right? You're like, oh, I could be taking track. I could keep track of them, right? As you get into different strategies and you're trying to see which ones work well for you, which ones are, you feel like you're getting comfortable with, when you track your trades, it can really help you out. And so a routine that I'm going to say daily, if not daily, if you're not doing a lot daily, then maybe weekly, is put it in a trading journal. Okay, record that information. Well, we happen to have a handy dandy trading journal for you. It's an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to show you where to find it. Okay, I am going to go out to my browser. We're going to come back out here again. This time we are going to go to calendar. Nope. I take it back. I want to go to our events. This was our in-person events, and I really don't want in-person events. I want our webcasts. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, click on View Calendar. It's going to bring up a calendar for our classes. Now, there has been two places where this journal can be found. One is in Barb Armstrong's, what is it called? Trading a smaller account or building a smaller account. I can't remember exactly the first word. I think it's trading a smaller account. There's a trading journal on that one. And I'm just going to go to that because we're here, we're on Friday. I'm going to select on it. It's also in the short verticals, which Barb teaches now as well, which I think is on Wednesday, but we'll just use Friday here and go to trading a smaller account. I'm just going to select on it. James taught it today. Barb's out. And then you're going to see in resources, trading journal. Not every class shows the trading journal. Okay. But if you click on this, it's going to help you download it. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You can use it in Excel. You can experiment with it and see if it works in other spreadsheet programs. I'm going to tell you it's not tested in other programs, but it is on Excel. And then here are a couple of videos that show you how to use the trading journal. For those of you that are working with stocks, probably just this top one's going to be sufficient to show you how to use the trading journal. All right. So if you start tracking your trades or feel like, yeah, that would be a good idea for me to track the trades. Then what that allows you to do is see where you're being successful, see maybe where you can fine tune some things. And I'll tell you, I do better when I stay on top of things daily. If I, keep on top of it daily, I'm a lot more effective than if I do it like track my trades once a month. Then it becomes like a big overbearing thing, right? Versus if you can put in your trades for the week, if you do it on a daily basis or weekly, that can help you stay on top of it. Okay, so that's my plug for the journal entry. And I think we've talked about other things that to do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, weekly. What do you do on a weekly basis? Feel free to chat it into me. Okay. One thing you might want to do, at least on a weekly basis, is make sure, and if you do this on a daily basis, that's fine, kind of see where sectors are. right? Where sector strength is, see where it's not. I'm going to come over here to the watch list where I have current account, and I'm going to change it to a public watch list called S&P 500 sector indices. I'm going to bring that up. We've got 11 listed here. And, you know, you might not know exactly what SP 500 pound 50 is. Okay. You might not know exactly until you click on it and make sure you've got this linked, right? You've got that linked. And then you can see, or you can come over here, click on this gear, see where my big giant mouse is pointing, this gear, hit customize, and then you can bring up description. It'll bring up the description of what that symbol is. So I like to move it right next to it. And then what I might do is kind of collapse the symbol column and stretch out here the description column, okay, with any other calculations you want in the columns. And then you can see the trend of communication services, information technology. I know this is a beginner class, and a couple of these things that we're doing here today is a little bit more detailed for a beginner. Like if this is the first time you're coming to the class, you're like, Connie, this is a lot of stuff. And that very well could be the case. One of those things might be the scripts. And so I like to keep a 1 month and a 3 month calculation in my columns where I'm seeing what's going on with sectors. Now, I probably changed it here recently for a purpose, and I'm going to click on the gear. I'm going to hit customize, and I'm going to bring back, my 1 month % change. And let's move it up because I like to see it first and then 3 months. And then we can see, we don't really need the last price here. That's not that pertinent for a sector. Then we can see what's been the performance of the real estate in the last month or the last 3 months. And so depending on what kind of time frames you're trying to work with, you might be comfortable with 3 months and being able to see, oh, okay, I've sorted it by the 3 month. You click on that column, and then you can see what the returns have been over the last quarter. Some of these are negative. Materials, consumer discretionary, and energy are all negative over the last 3 months. If you're trying to gauge sector rotation, then you might focus a little bit more on the 1 month column just to see what's happening right now. Because say information technology that's up 6% over 3 months actually is the most losing one over the 1 month period of time. And we've all seen that with the major market pullback. Technology has been hit quite a bit. So maybe once a week, take a look at this just so you have in your mind which sectors are stronger. And then if you're updating watch lists, one of you said you update your watch list on the weekends. If you update your watch list, then you could, if you wanted, if you say, I always run a particular scan and I like to have that up to date, you can go to that scan. One scan that I've taught you in this class, we're going to load it up here, is called Growth Stocks. And I've taught you the scan. If you missed that one, go to the link in the description. I've got it sitting there for you, or go to the watch list if you've become a subscriber to Trader Talks. Run your list, and you might say, you know, the market's closed. That's nice. The week is over. If you want to save it and not have it update in a fixed list, not one that you're updating every day, you can come over here and just say save as watch list. You know, and this might be your, you know, I call them growth stocks. I'll say growth, and then I'll put the date that I made the list, and that helps me keep track of when I need to update things. Okay, and then when we talked about reviewing your watch list, now it's fresh, it's updated. It might be a little tedious to try to do something like that on a daily basis because it's not going to change that much. But on a week basis, you'll start to notice some sorting. And then the other thing you can do after you've seen which sectors are the strongest, you might come in here and you might say, well, let me put the column in for sector, maybe sort it by that column. And then you can see, okay, stocks that map that criteria for growth stocks, in the real estate, it happens to be the best one this last month, then you could maybe take a closer look at those stocks that are in those sectors that are performing better. Okay. You don't have to do that, but just trying to give you some ideas. Roger says, I added a text note to each on the chart for the sectors. Great idea, right? Helping yourself keep track of it, just using tools that are available. Somebody's wanting to know if we're just using the desktop version. Most of our classes, we do use the desktop version, although we do have specific classes geared towards using Thinkorswim Web. Okay. In fact, Mike helps out with one of those, I think, sometimes. I could be lying. Maybe Mike doesn't help out. I know Kevin Horner, I think actually he might be the primary person on that for getting familiar with Thinkorswim Web, but I know Mike does as well. Now I'm noticing there's a survey out in the chat. We do this from time to time. You guys that have been to our classes know that. And we survey to kind of get some feedback from you about this particular class we're having today. So as you exit, if you wouldn't mind, just click on that little link and fill out the survey. It's super easy. 2 questions, and you just do plop, the radio button. It corresponds to how you feel. If you want to answer the questions, feel free to do that as well. I also will tell you, you can use it as some real estate to go ahead and write a message to me, letting me know of something you wish I would cover in one of our classes. And then I can entertain or weave that in to one of our classes. In fact, one of the ideas for just kind of reviewing routines came from a comment one of you made in the survey recently. Okay, so do us that favor. We will love you forever. You'll be my best friend today if you fill that survey out for us. All right, quick looking here. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you as well. We talked about daily routines. There's several of them. Weekly routines, tracking your trades, updating your watch lists. And then on a quarterly or a monthly basis, you might want to use that trading journal to identify how you're doing, what your performance is, and hopefully as you become more active with it, you'll be able to spot problems. Use it for analysis, right? Go back and say, oh, I really probably should have done that at this point rather than what I actually did, okay? And use it as a time to kind of reflect so that you can kind of do your own weeding of things that you need to make better and do better. Keep track of earnings dates. If you've got a watch list up, which we all have, right, you can see when we're doing earnings. This little blue circle with the light bulb in the middle lets us know we're having earnings. We've gone through a lot of them here most recently, so not a huge chunk. If there's a news item about the stock, that's what the yellow is. And if it's paying a dividend soon or paid a dividend this week, we're going to have that little green circle with a dollar sign. Depending on what parts of your portfolio you're working on, some of those can be really helpful to just help you keep track of it. But especially keep up on when your stocks are having earnings, okay? Don't be taken off guard. Doesn't mean you have to get out of your trade. Some people like to trade over earnings. In fact, to let your winners run, you kind of have to keep them over earnings if you're going to have something, go beyond 3 months or 5 months or 6 months, right? You've got to be able to hold over those earnings. Now, I'm going to show you one little thing that I do. And I show this typically when I'm teaching Exploring Thinkorswim. I haven't shown it in this class probably ever, or maybe it's been a long time. And that is how I use the different tools on Thinkorswim to help me stay on top of stuff, okay? So I'm going to share with you a picture of my monitor. All right, it's a picture I took. And what you see over here, let me get a different color. Let's get white. Raspberry. Okay, so over here you can see I've got my laptop. Hooked to my laptop or connected to it, I've got a TV. Everybody doesn't need a TV, okay? But I love my 43-inch TV. And you can see the different areas that I've broken out and detached that help me stay on top of the market. So up here are my sectors, little graphs, 1 month graph of the sectors in a grid chart. Here's what we looked at earlier, the heat map. Here's a breakout here, a detachment for the news, so I can go through news stories. All of these I have linked. I have mine linked with the red box, number 1 in the middle, okay? And then you can see, yep, I've got my charts here, and I actually have a different account over here as well, up. You could break it out however you want. I'll also put over there, trying to think what else I have over there, just little parts depending what I'm doing. I use grid charts a lot. Okay, so I may have some grid charts where I'm keeping track of what's going on today, or with a stock over various time periods, again, utilizing the grids. Didn't really get into charting here today, but hopefully it just kind of gives you an idea of what's, other people do, that maybe you're like, oh, I kind of like the idea of doing X, Y, or Z, but you're not going to know about it if we never talk about it, right? So that's what I've got for you there. Well, our time is almost up. In fact, our time is up. If you have any questions, chat them in right now. As we wrap up, just want to remind you, make some lists to help yourself stay on top of the market. It's easy. It helps you out. If you want to write them down, that might help start, or do a spreadsheet or whatever works for you, and then print it out so you can see it. All right, and help yourself stay on top of things. Mike, thank you for helping me in the chat today. Thank you to all of you who joined me here today. Hope this was helpful and useful to you. Now it's time to enjoy the weekend. We'll be back here bright and early Monday morning, 9:30, right at the opening bell. Subscribe, follow. If you enjoyed this today, hit the like button. And please, on your way out, fill out that survey. Hey, thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.